Alright, today we're gonna break down my track, my Home Depot theme remix, and show you how it's made. So to start off, in case you haven't heard it, I will play it in its entirety and then break it down afterwards. So here we go.
Yeah, let me get a couple of 2x4s and maybe that 4-piece drill set over there too. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of in need for a new snowblower, so pick up one of those as well. You know, might as well from here at Home Depot. I love this store, you know? You can find all your home improvement needs.
And there we go, that is my Home Depot remix. Let's get into the breakdown. So starting off, I took the original Home Depot theme. It was originally at 120 beats per minute, so I naturally sped it up to 150. And then here, I cut out the lows, and then cut out a little bit of the mid-range as well, just to clean it up. Of course, put my favorite OTT on it, and so here's how it sounds now. And then later on into the break, I added the second part of the Home Depot theme, but this time I felt like it would sound better half speed, so that's exactly what I did. I slowed it down to 75 beats per minute, of course cut out the lows, and cut out a little bit of the low mids here, and here's how it sounds. Now slowing it down to halftime definitely decreased its sound quality for sure. That's why I kind of hid that inconsistency along with a lot of other background elements. As you can see here, I used a lot of ambient sounds, clock strike, some wind sounds. I used the jungle sound, in fact, just to get that kind of spring day. You know, you're walking up to Home Depot, you're gonna buy a couple 2x4s. I also added some construction sounds, because, you know, construction, Home Depot. That kind of thing. And I also added this little blippy waves feature, which is I guess kind of a soundscape synth. It just has really nice stereo qualities that I liked. And then of course added a Reese. Although in the very first part I did cut out all the lows, and then I eventually added them back in. So in the intro here, I kind of left out the bass, and then to transition into the main part of the break, I have, of course, the sound of a drill. And that's when the bass kicks in.
Two. Actually, no.
And just to throw a little bit of flair in, I do have some narration. Nothing special here. Just me kind of going on about my favorite parts of Home Depot and why I love it so much.
Yeah, let me get a couple of 2x4s. And maybe that 4-piece drill set over there too.
Nothing much going on with the effects here. We have, of course, an EQ that looks kind of wacky, but it does the job for me. Noise gate, limiter, OTT, reverb, and then another adjustment EQ. And this kind of repeats along the chord pattern until I guess it would be the last part of the break where I do eventually add in a chord layer. Kind of in the background, but it fills up the stereo field, along with some orchestra crashes, and then kick and snare, and a little bit of some other percussion. To really fill up the dynamic range.
I love this store, you know? You can find all your home improvement needs.
And to transition into the build-up, I added just the last bit of the Home Depot theme. This last bit here, which kind of hints into that we're getting to the drop now. We're getting back to the main themes. And then in the build-up, there's nothing too special here as well. I have a couple exhaust layers, a couple effect sweeps up, and then of course to hint at the melody of like the Home Depot theme once again, I played it. But this time it's side-chained along with the build-up kicks, just to kind of build up that energy. And along with the bass drone. And the thing about the Reese here, I have it filtering, so it kind of has a bandpass filter going on, just so it loses those low frequencies and gains some more high frequencies as it builds up. And then I have my classic kick and snare build-up pattern that I kind of have just made a sample and then use it for a lot of my songs. Not all of them, but I felt like it fit really well here, so I just added it. And then a couple more crashes, and that's the buildup. And then there's this little pluck here, just to fill in a little bit of that stereo high end too, which is also sidechain. And then right before the drop, everything cuts out, and then once again, I give lots of hints to that original Home Depot melody. And next, we move on to the drop. And once again, I wanted to highlight that Home Depot theme. So I took, once again, the main melody and tried to manipulate it into a different rhythm. And this is what I came up with. And in the second part of the drop, I switch it up completely. But it still has the similar sound to the main melody itself, so it's still recognizable by the listener. And then the main bases of the drop. There are several different layers here. I'm not gonna go into how I made every single one, but I'll go through the basics of what I did. So for the main percussion elements, I have a kick and snare, which happen to be from the Pixel Terror pack. And this is what it sounds like. Nothing too complicated, just a classic rhythm pattern. And for the fills in the drop, I once again had to have the drill. And it just fit too well with the Home Depot thing to not have a drill sound as a fill. Now, working our way to the basses, we have just a simple sub, which is just a serum sine wave. A lot of people use the oscillators for some reason. When I use basses, or when I make basses in Serum, I use the actual sub. It also produces a sine wave. It's the exact same thing. It really doesn't matter what you do, but that's just the way I do it. A little bit of distortion and a little bit of compression on here, and this is my sub. For my subs, I like to have a lot of noise, so I have the noise turned up to, what is it now? 29%. So without it, it doesn't fill up the stereo range. So I love my noisy subs. Next, we have some mid basses just to fill up, I guess, the low / mid range. And all of these have the low cuts just so they don't interfere with the sub. So together it sounds like this. And then I have chords as well, because this is color bass after all. You can't have color bass without chords. And now to the main color growls, I guess you could call it. These are mainly Serum, although I do have a couple Vital presets in here as well. So the Serum preset, or the Serum sound that I use sounds like this. So these layers right here are the actual color layers. They have that color bass sound to them. So together they sound like this. And I guess the main sound you're hearing is this, what's called doink. And it's not actually that complex of a sound. It's just using one of the basic built-in wavetables in Vital. And then these two sounds as well. They're more kind of there just to fill in the frequency range. And altogether it sounds like this. And of course my classic color stabs, which are actually made in Razor. And I want to keep those secrets, so I'm not going to show you how I made them. But they definitely do add an element to this drop right here, so I had to add it. And then it's also the same preset for a fill. Kind of gives a laser type sound. So I think it made a great fill for this specific part, so I kept it in. And I forgot to mention the second fill, there is a cascading ARP. I believe it's just a square wave. Yeah, square wave and then a saw wave. So with a lot of distortion on it, that's all it is. And here, this fill, I call it the Paper Skies lead. It's just a preset that made in Serum, and then along together with the mid basses and sub, as well as the chord stack, makes a nice turnaround. And the second half of the drop is quite similar. It uses the exact same elements. The only difference is I did add another layer down here. Using my signature stab. And of course, I did vary the melody of the Home Depot theme a little bit, but exact same elements, so not too much to go over here. And then, of course, it turns around. The turnaround here into the next build-up, I once again added the original Home Depot theme, and it fits perfectly. I threw it there just in case, and it just happened to be the perfect transition into the next build-up, so I left it. And the second build-up, exact same as the first. I don't think I made a single difference, except I did remove the little pluck layer. As you can see, it's muted here. But other than that, exact same build-up, nothing special going on. Second drop time. Okay, now this drop, completely different from the first. I used tons of different elements that are vastly different, including, see, this growl I made at the beginning of the pandemic. So I kind of went back to my older sounds that I made and tried to incorporate them here. I called it AU6 because I guess it kind of has that AU5 vibe, and I felt like it fit perfectly for this track. So I used some of the same elements from the first drop, but just in a different pattern, because I really wanted to vary the rhythm the second time around. And I in fact used my my signature stab, but if you lengthen out the notes, it has more of a long laser sound effect. It's not as so that's the main sound from this for the second drop. That's what you're hearing most prominently. But I do add the short tick tick ticks as well. And kind of keep the same melody as I did here. But I used it differently. I varied it a little bit just to, again, add more variation. And again, throwback to that very recognizable and very meme-worthy Home Depot theme. So these main growls here, the way I have it in the wavetable is so they hit differently at different points. So this first time you hear the sound, it has a different timbre and a different voice than the second time, and then it repeats. So you can hear it like this. Again, it gives it like an A-B type vibe, I guess you could say. And then for the second drop, to get that really wow wow wow, that really high pitched sound, all you do is change one of the parameters, I believe. It's this reactor 6 oscillator knob 1. I'm not gonna let you know what that is, but that's all I did to get the high pitched. I guess it kind of gives an Ace Aura type vibe as well. And then I ended off with the very end of the Home Depot theme as well, just because that's how it started and that's how it's going to end. Also, this sound right here, I created it completely by accident. It's another vital sound using the built-in mirror movement wavetable. Completely by accident, and I accidentally threw it in. I meant to put it right here at the 91 bar. I accidentally put it 91.5. And again, sometimes, as Bob Ross says, happy accidents. And it fit perfectly, so that's what I used to begin the turnaround. And that about does it for this walkthrough of how I made my Home Depot color-based remix. Thank you so much for watching. I'm currently kind of in a transition period with my channel. As you can see, my camera quality greatly improved, and that might be a hint to what's coming. I am, in fact, transitioning more to a photography, videography kind of art. I'm still going to be working on music, still going to be DJing, but that's just where I'm heading in the future. So thank you for sticking around. I hope I was able to teach you something today, and y'all take care. Peace.